Had another really nice conversation with Phil last night. Life feels fast and pressured. We're hustling and wondering why. This is the Comportment podcast. Comportment means how we carry ourselves throughout the day in our body, our mood, and our language. We know that when our stories and our actions are aligned, we feel in charge, we have agency, and when we don't, we have stress. We invite reflection, curiosity, and endurance instead of speed and avoidance. We explore real life parenting, diet, aging, work, meaning, and designing the life that we think we want to have. Let's slow it down just enough to speed up what matters. Phil,
Hey, hey, how you doing, Matt?
hi. Hear me okay?
I can somehow miraculously. My audio
Dude.
seems to be working from the start. Awesome.
Yeah, good to see you. How are you doing?
Oh, not bad. It's been whew, just like can't believe how quickly the week passes by or the weeks pass by. It's just
You took a trip
unbelievable
this
to me.
last week?
I don't even remember what I did this last week. It's like that. But yeah, I feel like I wasn't home, so it must mean I took a trip. It's been a blur. Um, yeah. I did a bunch of things to try to create activity, and then they all started, it's like I threw out five or six fishing lines, and then they're all biting all at once, and I don't have that many hands, as it turns out. And then, of course, as it turns out, the lines are like on docks in different states and stuff. So it's kind of, but all
Hustling,
good for the most part. Yeah, just hustling. That's it. Just hustling.
for sure.
Increasingly wondering why, but not stopping to think about it too much.
We don't have time for that.
Maybe
We
it's time for
got
that,
to earn
you know.
money.
Oh man. I admit though, thinking about the like pointlessness of it all actually makes me I'm of that particular type of person who it makes me feel better rather than worse. Like I never find myself short on potential meaning. I always find myself high on pressure. And yeah, the possibility of meaninglessness, it just feels like pressure relief. And
Yeah, yeah.
that's okay.
What if I'm reminded of what a friend of ours said around like it matters what you stand for. And like those things you mentioned, it's like the small handful of situations or like circumstances, that drive no matter what.
Yeah,
Like I really care about it, right?
yeah. Although, yeah, I do admittedly I am finding myself increasingly self-critical on, the mm, the that I don't make as I feel like I want to make more time for pursuing opportunities that are just a little less proven in my experience, but like way closer to the center of the target of my interest, you know. And it's like, admittedly, the not starving and not being uncomfortable are always at the center of a target. And so I can't deny that. But there's other targets. There's not just the one. And like to throw some darts in those other directions too. And I kind of think
Yeah.
it's
Here,
maybe you got that three darts in one hand and you hit all three targets at once right in the bullseye. That feels good. The
you're
idea
talking
of it feels
about a
good.
rare element,
Yeah.
precious,
Although,
precious gemstone.
yeah, it seems like it shouldn't be rare. We just went and made a really stupid world that
Yeah.
that separated out those targets into distinct actual, put them in different locations. They're not all layered on top of each other, so you can just hit them with one target, which I feel like is how it would naturally be. Uh, it's kind of the things that you would do to survive are not
Speaking of
so
which,
complicated.
I was recently recommended like a 5 minutes per day of grateful practice, gratitude, like sitting and be thinking about that. That was like a serious conversation this week.
Have you been trying to practice that?
Uh, Apparently not.
I practice it only as a, I mean, admittedly, I don't find myself like, I was raised in a Christian household and I'm appreciative of a lot of it. A lot of it has been left, it's kind of just history. And, but I find myself praying occasionally in that one circumstance where I find myself like grumpy and just like stressed and dealing with all the pressure and everything. And I'm able to like step back and, at least in my case, for the most part, in my adult life, it's for the most part been true that the things I'm struggling with and grumpy about are all the products of my own agency just playing out. I'm not doing what anybody's telling me to do. I'm doing what I want to do and dealing with the consequences of that. And uh,
Wow.
that's awesome. That's an awesome thing to be the primary source of my own struggles. And
Well, it's nice to be.
I,
I mean, no
I
one
mean,
can besides you.
it's like if I'm going to be grumpy even in those circumstances, I've then I'm the problem definitively, and it's like making mistakes, doing things you regret. That's just learning. That's just life.
I think that's
But
your lifespan is like condensed to 65 to 80 years.
why? Or you said that's why?
Yeah, I think so.
Elaborate, please.
It's just hard, man. It's hard on the body to live that life.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
constantly faced with my own ignorance and frustrations and sabotage and enablement and brokenness. I mean, it's mine. And when they talk about us being pluralistic or multifaceted being, it's because of all of those.
Yeah, it's true. It's
Some
true.
really interesting research lately about how like assessments are tied to all this just because of the curiosity of linguistic action, and that's one of the distinctions, right? So the recent research or just like exploration has led me towards coherence of all the various assessments we have in all those various domains is kind of what allows the possibilities of action available to us. We talked
It
not too
makes it,
long ago about how like our opinions can like hold off giant swaths of action as possibilities. And so I've just been really dwelling on that concept and it's like fascinating the interplay between our bodies and attitude and, you know, living life is
yeah.
in time.
I think I think it's that issue of coherence of my assessments that is the one that mm, I find operationally, so long as there's just a critical mass of assessments that cohere and they're all kind of related to something practical, then
Mm-hmm.
I can sort of functionally ignore the incoherence that may be out there beyond that immediate sphere.
But there's stress,
Uh,
right?
there's what?
There's stress there. I mean,
Yeah.
there can be. There's the potential of stress when assessments are like incoherent.
Well, I think that that's like I want to live a life in which when I'm in the moment and kind of in that zone, of course, you only can focus on what you can focus on. And so long as the things you're focusing on are coherent and make sense, your agency is activated in a very confident way, right? It's like I know what's open to me, that this is what I can and cannot do. I make my decisions, I go, and I'm kind of flowing through it. I don't want to be, and I love that, and that either happens or it doesn't, right? You're either in a practical moment like that or you're not.
I mean,
What I fear the most and what I kind of like my identity, a lot of my identity is kind of designed around trying to prevent becoming a person who cannot be comfortable stepping back from those operational moments and like opening up to the layers of potential incoherence that are in the my world of assessments that are kind of outside of that operational domain. And when I don't feel like, or this is my assessment of my parents, frankly, that they were people who very intelligent, very wonderful, very loving in all these ways, but finally like had this fear of stepping back, zooming back to a point that maybe some like framework level incoherence could be noticed. And they they didn't want to do that because they didn't want to feel the feelings that would come from that. And I don't want I want to be a person who doesn't have to worry about that because of those feelings don't even because those feelings don't even happen based on that incoherence. You know, it's just like I want to be comfortable with the incoherence so that I can actually analyze it and decide, oh, well, maybe this assessment was off. Maybe this assessment is more nuanced than the level of detail I'm dealing with it at, you know, in this thing. And kind of I want to be able to just get in there and I've seen a lot of people in my life not get in there because of the feelings of that of discomfort that the incoherence itself creates. And it's like it's we have no obligation to anyone not to be incoherent. You know, it's not this is our organism just doing what it's doing the way it does.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
coherent
I personally love to experience incoherence.
yeah, I really do too. But
It's
admittedly, I can relate to it being disturbing. And I'm aware that like it's not always welcome for me to be a spotlight for incoherence in like a lot of social or
not necessarily.
professional
I totally.
engagements. Although I admit I want to be that. I so bad want to be that spotlight. I totally just want to like rub your face in it and be like, look how absurd it all is. And then, you know, thinking, oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna be like, yeah, it's fantastic. Isn't this great? And then, but sometimes it's not the response you get. Uh, and then
Parenting
you
is
feel
pretty incoherent.
oh, I can only imagine. How have you, how's that?
Glad to put the babies to bed tonight.
Yeah, I can only imagine. You know, I was talking to my friend earlier today who's a professor, and I, you know, it's hard being a professor right now, I think, in a lot of ways. Um, but talking to him made me realize how completely out of touch I am with like people in their 20s and like what the world must seem like to them and grappling with the fact that like the world is just rapidly becoming theirs, you know, and that like those of us who are doing the work of engaging young people are doing very, very important work. From my point of view, it's also very mysterious uh, and like daunting, admittedly. But you know, there's a reality to it that goes beyond, I feel like, the realist of real things that I do.
Yeah, it's going to be a spectacular fucking train wreck, and I hope I can live long enough to see some of the outcomes.
Oh man.
I'm
How are
really
you like how old are your kids?
9 and 13.
So is it still mostly just like how to be a person type stuff, or you know, are either of them dealing with like reflections on their model of the world and that kind of that level of issue yet?
No, no, we're working on spelling bees, athletics, body hygiene, uh, following through, um, you know, one step beyond basic rewards punishment systems,
Let's see.
intrinsic value.
Do they
And
have a, you know, are they I remember when I was those ages, I had more of an axe to grind than a feeling of motivation. Uh,
yeah, man, parenting is hard.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
no doubt. Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and I'm trying to stay positive from like a mental health attitude. Can't say I'm winning the battle, but fighting a good fight and in it. So uh, working hard and trying to keep my body healthy. That's been kind of a big thing.
Yeah, I guess that really is just like attending to your organism. You're in it, and you can't expect it not to be painful, I would assume. Or I guess one could expect it, but it seems like an unrealistic expectation, right?
I mean,
It's
you know, happens nice with age, you know. I turned 48
Yeah.
this month.
Turned what?
48 this month.
48. Holy moly.
Yeah,
Uh,
October.
you appear to be doing great. I
Well, we can't
I'm
see
turning
congestion around my heart or lung failure or kidney problems I might have. Anyway, sorry. Tell me.
it's true. Are you feeling ill? Are you feeling you seem though you have a not heavy energy about you
Well,
that makes you seem younger than 48.
been passing around a cold the last few weeks, and I think like I crashed the party a few days ago. So yeah, I've got some symptoms.
I see. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no big.
Uh
Thank you. We'll be fine.
yeah. Yeah, it is crazy how each year, every day, the pain just becomes more of a just common, just take it for granted sort of element of everything. I'm
Oh,
uh uh I'm a few years younger than you and feeling it so much every day. It's like, what? All I did was move my arm through the air. Why? Why did that hurt?
the longer term stuff, I have to totally experience with like the healing mindset in order to make any progress at all. For this, like the
Yeah,
5 year pain I've got in my lower back, it has so much to do with the context. And so to work through that and to heal and to like rebuild muscle mass, which is lost on like a daily basis after the age of 40 if you're not rebuilding it with resistance training. And so, the multi-year kind of slump I was in had a cost, like muscle mass, like volume cost. So to get that back, I have to also be believing in like the reason for the health and the well-being of the muscles to heal. It's not just a burn from like, conditioning class in 10th grade. It's way more experiential than that. To like fix my body sucks.
yeah, yeah. I've been in denial about being in a similar slump. Having moved twice in the past year was really disruptive to some habits that I had, been depending on to make me at least feel decent for quite a long time. And uh, I feel like as long as I have the story about how I'm going to be able to put that back together, it keeps me rather cheerful. But that cheer doesn't decrease the amount of actual pain in my body or just that general feeling of like, wow, why did it feel that effortful to do that task that I've done so many times in my life and it was never that hard. What's going on here?
What really
And
worked for me was to go to YouTube and find like the hottest girl doing Pilates and copy them every day. Highly recommend it.
yeah, I for a long time got into doing this boxing video game and found it super great. And
Excellent.
just like something to get the movement started, right? And then like once you're moving regularly, then it's easier to build onto that a little more deliberate and strenuous stuff, and it doesn't feel so defeating right away and all of that. And so I'm still holding out hope that regularity will. But the truth is, I need to cut some of these lines that I've thrown out there speculatively. It's yeah,
Are you getting good
I
rest?
I'm sorry,
Are you getting good rest?
no. I'm not getting good rest. I'm not eating well. I'm drinking too much and on the road too much. And it's all very plain. That's the worst is like, I like to get into some deep philosophical quandaries and think about complicated things and try to solve a difficult to solve puzzle. But none of these are difficult to solve. These are all very, very straightforward black and white issues of no,
No,
you're doing it
no, they're
wrong.
not.
Stop it.
They're not. They're complicated. They're interconnected. They are part of an overall scheme. I mean, just
Yeah.
seek to find rest and relax. I would love to. I'll give you a text to a really beautiful speaker from an Australian hermitage. I'd actually donated $25 to him. I've just been listening to this same meditation on Insight Timer over and over again, and I was so passionate about what I was hearing that I like found the lady and I gave her like enough money for the hermitage to like get a dinner out, which is great. They're in Sydney.
Nice.
Yeah, and they said thanks. So it's dogs in meditation. It's the It's like the heart work of the well practiced sitters, which are like meditation people in Zen, this sort of teaching school or discipline, and it's all about completeness. So it's on reflection in momentary time and around awareness. Dogs in, which is like DZOG, but I think it's spelled like I think it's pronounced Zochin.
I see with I searched it and the first thing that came up was dogs in, great companions for life dog training. But
No,
here it is with an H. Is that it? Is that it?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I'm really
Dog
excited
in.
about this. Like one person doing the thing, and I mean the teaching is pretty straightforward. I mean whenever you hear someone speak to breath, like you're pretty well there in the whole educational part of it for intellectual practice. Not that big a deal. Um, it's really cool to also understand this is about time and self awareness. And I think reflection is really like a strategic key in being in being able to like manage and adjust your being.
Mhm.
So this is like my also my recent learning on reflection. I thought that the reflection might be a storytelling practice that we do in our narratives that only mattered in context of email or some bullshit communication, like not important. And since then, I've concluded that it's strictly important as the foundation of the choices we make. It matters more than actually the words we write or the things we say when we say I'm paying attention to stuff I did in my past and I want to make changes. That's kind of like a hopeful agenda for a retrospective meeting. Try to practice this on a weekly basis with like really good clients that are like eager to learn. Who I don't work with people like that. I want to though. That's my goal in life.
Right.
I try to teach that. They don't really listen. We just
Uh,
get paid.
I've been struggling with this whole, yeah, the pursuit of income and its disconnection from the pursuit of its potential disconnection from the pursuit of meaning. And I think that the ways like I think both of us experience this thing where it's like I feel like there's something adjacent and parallel to what I'm doing professionally that I would think was very meaningful and that I would enjoy very much. And it's altogether similar to what I'm actually doing, but it's not what I'm actually doing. It's this other thing, it's this kind of just on this other little track. And what I'm actually doing is working with people who, for the most part, have their minds made up and just get a sense of confidence from talking to someone about it. Even if that person's not saying go for it, you know, just like just offering that opportunity for reflection, but it so often reinforces bias, a lot of times the mirror we use is already cracked in just the ways we need it to be to continue to obscure the things we don't really want to see. And
Well,
and it's what level of force. I'm not interested in forcing people to see what they don't want to see. I love the idea that they would see
oh,
it
I
because
I
they
have
want
to
to see
disagree
it.
with you there. I
Okay.
take more pleasure in forcing people to see what they don't want to see than anything else in the world.
I think the idea of it's very seductive to me. I guess I'm just not, I don't,
Oh yeah,
I don't know if I've actually experienced it ever really happen, and I'm kind
yeah.
of, and I don't know.
I feel
But
like
I have started
the conclusion of this conversation is that we get tattoos.
tattoos.
Yeah, sure, something to signify permanence.
There's got to be a Buddhist element because, the thing that comes to mind um, I don't know the context for this very well, so forgive me, but this is just like a little folder in my brain on the question of Buddha speech, where, like everything the Buddha says is true, but depending on who the Buddha is talking to, different things may be said that may seem to be in contradiction. And the exemption from this is based on the idea that the the truth that you can hear is different from the truth that someone else can hear. And the wise speech is not based on what's true, it's based on what you need to hear to get to a place where you can hear more. And like the
Oh,
so knowing where your audience is and really giving them what they need to get to that next little step to be a little bit closer to the goal, but not necessarily there. And I've been some colleagues, I've been interacting with some folks who do like performance straight performance coaching, whether with executives or with like athletes. And my inclination when I think about this whole problem is just like, I want to get past this mindset of competitiveness. Like I just want to get past this whole thing. And so like leaning into the idea that I can help you become more successful in your competition feels off target for me. But, these people that I'm interacting with, I do not consider them to be like running little micro cults and just leading people on and telling them what they want to hear in order to take their money. I think that they see and they see that those extrinsic focuses like competition can still be a portal for the construction of a story about oneself that does bring back into focus the intrinsic things. And that finally it's like a person, the part of the story that they've constructed or that they're focusing on, that's not the problem. It's usually the part that they haven't done that's the problem.
hmm.
And so challenging that component of it, like get over this competitive stuff, is counterproductive. It's like, no, let's entertain this where it is. Let's get into the competitive stuff. Like if you were taking better care of like one of the questions was, other than winning this season, what would happen this season that would make it amazing for you? And, just a question, simple question, but getting into exploring something that might have a more intrinsic type value to it, that is still something that, will help me keep engaged, right? It takes away the trade-off of, oh, I can either pursue what I want or do what's going to be, to make me the best. And, to kind of find that there is harmony between there's no reason there can't be harmony between your extrinsic goals and your intrinsic motivations and values. It's just that, you've been told by your dad who's trying to live through you that the most important thing is baseball. And, he blew out his elbow when he was in the minor leagues and now he needs to see you go all the way. And, it's like, and, but you do actually like baseball too. You're not doing it just for that reason. And you enjoy making friends with your teammates and you enjoy like the 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 experience of it maybe, you know what I mean? But just trying to find those things. And I admit I find no problem with this approach. And I, like,
Right.
and I see it really more pointing to an error or a limit that I've been imposing in my way I do my work, where it's
I
like
think
I'm not,
people are made differently, and some people aren't ready to think like that. I mean,
yeah,
fully admit, fully admit that from personal experience, where I might speak, like I would say, statistically to folks, and they don't get it. Like that's not
yeah,
me. Like that doesn't follow my narrative.
yeah,
Like they just go back to the yeah, but.
yeah. I think that's I'm at least convinced that there's a theoretical that if you're really meeting the person you're working with where they really are, then there should be a pathway from where they are to where they need to be that is in fact continuous with the path they're already on. That
Wisdom.
there should be that, and it should be up to us, like if we're going to be helpful, to try to find that and guide them down that path. But it sometimes I think the other thing too, my personal, like what do I do wrong? I think often what I do wrong is I want them to understand the method for finding the path rather than just get them to take the next step down
Of
it.
course. course.
I want them to understand how I'm thinking about it.
Yeah,
And
man.
it's like, it's not important for you to understand how I'm thinking about it. What's important for you is to live this experience and learn from it
Yeah.
and, not be stuck in hesitation or frustration or whatever. And like, I don't need you to be able to design the whole protocol that we're going to use, like that's how I come to these things because I like to think at that level. But, that's where I'm playing my game.
Big
And
networks.
it's not where other people are playing their game, and nor should it be,
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank goodness, man. And you know what? Getting paid matters.
yeah. And I'm trying to tell myself that I could maybe find more interesting ways to get paid if I would actually lean into this, more open,
Mm.
be more open to the types of people I work with, I guess really is and instead of working with people who I know I'm not going to like, but who I know how to extract money from, work with people who I have no preconceived notions about other than
Mm.
that they're saying that they have goals they're not reaching. Well,
I would also recommend diversification of income. So if I mean like if you've got $10,000, putting it in the stock market could really benefit. Like at the rate it's going in the last 6 months, it
oh
could be
man,
$13,000.
it is, our economy
It's
is crazy.
bonkers.
It's true.
It's totally true. And
Uh,
small amounts of money can be getting 20% a year when the money market checking accounts get 4.
yeah, it's true. I admit I'm such a tinkerer. I never find myself doing I always want to just try something. I always want to deploy my capital in a like straightforward entrepreneurial way that's very risky and almost never pays off. But or if it does, it just creates conflict with other things, and I find myself stressed just like I am right now.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I get it.
but
I
but I like the play of it. I enjoy it's another opportunity to explore my agency and see what, there's curiosity behind it that
I mean,
does not pay the bills when I'm in a retirement home, but does give me an excuse to try and random stuff just to see what happens.
speaking
I
about
don't
like
know.
smashing up against your knowledge curve or your stupidity, however you'd like to say it, learning to trade for an investment strategy is a whole realm of what you don't know. I mean,
Oh yeah,
so it's been humbling, to say the least. I mean, the worst I can do is lose all my money. I mean,
true.
I've learned enough to know that the systems are set up so that like it's designed so that you can't borrow someone else's money and lose it. When you're just doing brokerage accounts, but you can definitely lose all your money. Like that's
Yeah,
easy.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
fun.
It's I admit it's not something I've done much, but I have reflected on it a lot. Or I find certain patterns interesting, and it's a interesting system of human behavior and transaction type that I can't help but pay attention to. And yeah, it's alarming how un uncoupled values seem to be, company values seem to be from their apparent underlying function. You know, and it's kind of, I feel like I don't know on what basis. I feel like it must be very hard to pick investments at the moment because the volatility, like, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm worried. I'm worried that we've been in the bubble for a very long time. But it's also like, admittedly in a system that's designed to do that. And so long as the expansion of the bubble is within controlled rates, then it could be expected to go on for a very long time. But I I I wonder where things are going right now. I feel like there's not a lot of, it seems like the folks don't have a lot of money and that the stock market's being propped up by basically businesses investing in AI and trying to use AI to replace their employees and all the hype being generated around that. And there's a lot of real money being spent on that, but it's not by like consumers, right? And
No, no, I
I,
think we are. We
you think
are.
so?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's in the cost of the goods that we're buying.
Well, fair enough. But I feel like we got to be buying less. Like I don't know where the numbers are recently, but it just seems like, man,
Well,
I don't know. My general impression is that folks are having a harder time scraping up the dough these
I'll
days.
subscribe it. I subscribe to a graphing program and I'll show you what lately it looks like.
Oh,
I totally have got a nice graph here to show you. I
awesome.
think this is the whole thing. Let me know if when and if it comes through.
Oh yeah. So what is this that we're looking at?
It's called VIX. It's a
Oh, the
volatility
volatility
index,
index.
S&P
Yeah.
500. And so
So can we show me the like 5 year?
it goes out. Yeah, we can do the 5 year. So it measures the volatility of the financial markets. And this
Interesting.
last big spike was like, you know, early spring of this last year. You might remember the
Mhm.
panic in the political economy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
that
is
was
like right after the inauguration and the tariffs and all this.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was this. We're here.
So it's
It
been
has
kind
been
of
increasing
normalizing.
lately.
Mhm. Wow, that was a relatively really big spike, huh?
Yeah,
For the 5 year period. That's the highest spike.
for
Wow.
sure. I mean, it was pretty
Oh man.
crazy. So it's
It
just
was
measuring,
crazy. I thought I was just crazy.
you
But I
know,
guess we all were.
the financial
Yeah.
markets all said as much.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
so this is what the price of gold's done in the same amount of time. Here's the value of the US dollar. Here's the value of the Amazon stock. This is a technology focused US large cap fund, which is like got all the Amazons, Nvidia, Google, IBM, all that.
Yeah. I wonder how long it'll last. I feel like it could potentially go very long because investors are not like, and investors have proven like a high tolerance for seemingly inflationary situation, and it's kind of
Growth.
like, yeah, I guess we could call it growth.
Well, it's like one company you can get on here like sells satellites to SpaceX to be launched. I mean, that stuff doesn't seem to be slowing down. Quantum
No, it's
computing
true.
is people are investing in quantum computing.
No, it's
Technology
true.
matters, security matters, data matters. I mean, you're right. The economy is driven by these jokers investing in AI. And if you've got $5,000, please, you should go do that, Phil.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
You
It's
know how to open a brokerage account at Schwab.
it's yeah. I guess I feel like it's perverse because I can't deny that there's wisdom from a purely monetary standpoint and milking that teat. But
Like,
it's the teat that should not have milk in it. It's a teat that should be dry. So
I
that's the
agree.
perverse
I
part.
agree.
Uh,
We can set up a brokerage account for you with $500 in it. And so that next week you can make it up to 600.
it's I find it interesting, but I admittedly like I expect when I go fishing, I would want to do better with my money than that. But I'd be willing to take greater risks. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be willing to lose my whole boat